Hello, this is a mic test. This is a mic test. Hello, hello, hello. So, guys, welcome to the 82nd edition of the Trading Opportunities webinar. This is Nirav, and let me just check. Yes, so this is working out. The audio is working at my end. Okay, so YouTube has a new feature on timeout. Got it. Okay, so with everything seemingly working as expected, let me just get done with legalities. First of all, on screen here is a disclaimer suggesting that all content presented here is for educational purposes. I'm not soliciting buy or sell. If you do go on to use the views presented here for your trading, your investing, or any other purpose, you yourselves will be liable for your profit, your loss, or loss of profit. Right? The rest of it you can read obviously on the screen itself. With the legalities out of the way, now let's get to our very quick introduction before the actual webinar. So, guys, my name is Nirav. I'm the admin and owner of the website 50is.com, as well as the YouTube channel 50is Market Analysis, where I've been conducting these webinars since quite some time. This will be the 82nd edition of the Trading Opportunities webinar. We conduct one every Friday at 2 p.m. GMT and 7:30 p.m. IST. So whichever time zone you are in, just convert it to your time zone, right? So within the past, what do you call, 81, 80 webinars, we have captured 128 trades. And as a matter of fact, all the last 6 trades discussed in the 79th webinar played out, right? So we will see what happened of the discussions done in the 81st webinar, sorry, today, right? This webinar is currently being broadcasted live on YouTube as well as LinkedIn. Moving forward, I'm also the author of the book Think with the Markets, which is available on Kindle, Amazon's electronic book reading platform. And lastly, this is the forecast accuracy of all the webinars and videos that I've published over the years. Since 2016, I've been keeping a track record. 2017, 87.5, 2018, 84.61, 19, 84.88. The way these records are compiled is that this is the date, this is the instrument name, this is the analysis done, this was the price when the analysis was done, and this is the link to the video and the outcome. So things that worked out are given +1, things that didn't work out were given -1. And so we have calculated the accuracy of these forecasts. 73 out of 86 played out, 84.88, etc. So 2020 again 88.52. You can just scroll down and check all these links. This is done publicly, so it's verifiable at any point in time, and so on and so forth for 2021 for 82.22%. Now, since 2022, I've been conducting weekly webinars instead of monthly, so the track record has been kept just as in number of trades discussed that played out. I really don't have the time to check every single webinar and compile it in the spreadsheet. So with that being said, now let's head over to the actual webinar content. We'll be discussing the charts of Euro USD followed by crude oil, gold, S&P, Nifty 50, and in the end Bitcoin or BTC. And lastly, we will be conducting a private webinar called Profits Revealed on 7th of October 2023. And you can register here because it's a private webinar, which is what you call registration only. Okay, so I have the black background, so it's not showing. So what you can do over here is just go to the 50s.com/webinar dash registration page. I'll put the link in the video description as well as in the comments probably later on. Just check the video description on YouTube and just select your country by clicking here in time zone. It will show the name of all the different time zones available. It's not showing here clearly because I have black background on. And then all the details, etc., and register. You will receive a link for the webinar, and that way you can just become a part of the private webinar, which we will be conducting on 7th October. And just to give you a quick idea, if you are not in my emailing list, I have been operating on a good sized account for quite some time, and in the last 3 months itself we have generated more than 50% return. So we will be discussing that account and seeing all the trades, checking out the winning streaks and big wins, big losses, etc., and figuring out how I got where I got. So that's why it will be a very, very valuable thing, because I will be going over the actual track records and everything. And you can register here. So that being said, let's now head over to the actual webinar, guys. And of course, you are in the comment section live. You can also type in and I can answer your questions, queries, etc. Let me load up the charts here. Okay, so I seem to have some questions here. Let me see. Hello, Prashant. And there's a question from someone with the webinar be hosted on YouTube. No, it will not be hosted on YouTube. We will have it on a private platform, and it will only be what you call live only. That is, you will have to attend to see what I'm discussing. Okay, guys. So with that being said, now let's head over and see our first chart of Euro USD. This is the one we are following. Hello, Stephen. So this is the chart we have been following so far, and I really don't recall what was the discussion done in the last webinar. So what I'm going to do is just very quickly try and check if I can get a handle on that. So this is the last webinar's recording. I'm just trying to check. Yes, so we were expecting a downward movement, and yes, there were targets 1.0595. That's enough information. Now let's head over and see what happened. The last webinar was connected on 22nd. Let's see where is 22nd. Somewhere here is 22nd. And we were expecting downward movement 1.0595. So basically this was the target. So this was hit, target achieved. So if you were following the last webinar, you would have gotten a really clear trading opportunity, which has worked out. So anyways, that's about it. It adds another +1 to our tally of trades that have worked out. But now let's focus on what Euro is doing right now. Right now, I do not have any trades placed on Euro, right? And I seemingly don't even have a count placed on it either. Let's look at the bigger picture first, and then I'll discuss the shorter time frames. So this is the point of reference, or the starting point of this analysis, which is the price level around 1.12760, roughly speaking. From this point on, I have discussed this thing as a WXY correction. Now, WXY, for those of you not familiar with Elliott Wave, I'll just clarify quickly, is structure which looks roughly like this. So if you compare it with the actual price action, I have placed the W here, right? And the X here, and the Y complete here, right? So once this leg is complete, it can still transform to a what do you call 1 second? What do you call a more bearish continuation? And the bearish continuation generally is that there will be another connection or connecting wave as an X, and then a leg down for Z, right? So basically, in real price, it will be something like this. Let me just change the color for it. So something like this with the yellow color, another X, and then the next leg down will be called a Z, right? So that's one possibility. Second possibility is that the whole structure WXY is complete here, and there is not going to be another Z. So in which case it can just head higher, right? So those two possibilities exist, and there is not much clarity. Generally, in cases like these, what I like to do is wait for the X to clarify itself. If there's going to be a wave X, it can be a possible triangle. I mean, I'm just saying it can be a triangle because triangles are easier to spot. It can be anything. It can itself be a complex structure. So basically, I'm waiting for some sort of sideways movement from this low, right? If there is a sideways movement, which is a recognizable pattern as a flat or a triangle or something like that, then we may be able to alert on S&P 4319. then we may be able to take some what do you call trades to the downside. Long story short, if there is a recognizable sideways pattern here and then a break of the low, which I'm currently placing an alert around 1.05112, basically the low, then I'll be interested in shorts or short trades. This is what we are talking about. Sideways movement followed by a break of the recent low will lead to a possible selling opportunity for me as per my analysis or this analysis, right? Secondary possibility, as we just said, the whole thing could be complete here, and if it's complete here, I do not really have any evidence for it at all. I have just placed an alert around 1.06520, which is basically going to act as a possibly strong resistance level. If the market sustains above it, then I'll be interested in taking some longs. So to conclude the whole analysis, longs we will only consider above this resistance zone, which is pegged around, roughly speaking, 1.0654. This zone basically distances are rows instead of lines. And short, we'll wait for some sideways movement. If there is one clear sideways movement followed by a break of the low, that's our setup for now. Obviously, as time progresses, these setups can evolve. I can possibly decipher the end of a correction and then take a better entry here and reduce my risk. But that's something that I can only update in my private Slack group. By the way, those of you new here, I also have a private Slack group where I post all my live trades and analysis day in, day out. And those generally look something like this. Let me just show on Euro itself. So this is the private Slack group. This is the Euro channel, added shorts for what do you call price level? Let me see, 0502, and booked profits near the low. And I mean, you get the point. All the trades are posted here. They may be swing trades, they may be scalps, whatever I do, almost all the trades. Actually, all the trades are posted here. And by the way, this is when we reached over 50% profit target on the current account. I'm handling book profits on all shorts, just shy of $1,000 to reach 50%, almost there. So actually, it was the gold trade. Probably we'll discuss that. So long story short, this is the private Slack group, and I post all my trades here in case you were unaware and would like to be interested in becoming a part of it. You can request details for it. This is a paid group, by the way, guys, and this is currently request only. That is, you will have to contact me via the contact us page. Again, link is in the video description, and type in the subject matter as request for private Slack group. 50years.com/contact us. Let's now head over to our next chart of crude oil. Okay, so Luis is here. Hello, Luis. How are you doing? Let me see if I can highlight the chat as well. So now let's head over to our next analysis, which will be the chart of CL or crude oil. Again, we were able to capture some good trades here during the week, but let's now focus on the analysis. There is one clear conviction I have over here is this trend line. Now it looks like an impulsive structure has completed here. I'm not very clear about this structure, by the way. What I mean by not very clear is the fact that this is not a very clean impulse in its sense that I feel like there's something might be unfinished here, and this may be continuing as a possible expanding diagonal, but it does not look like a very clear diagonal either. So although I have placed a wave 5 here, I will wait a little bit more for the clarity on what's happening here. Let me see if I have pointed out some ways in which this may be proceeding. Not really, other than a possible impulse with the nested 1-2-1-2 in the other direction. So what I'm basically saying here is that the downside here is not confirmed. This 5 is not confirmed. And this is not confirmed because of the guideline of Elliott Wave of the right look. The guideline of right look basically suggests that things that do not look clear enough should not be considered as a high probability count. So here I cannot count this wave 5 clearly enough. That's why I'm saying I'm not really interested in adding a huge position on crude oil counter unless there is some clarity in the market. So, but what we do know clearly is that if this wave 5 is complete here, then we will expect a movement lower than this trend line, right? So that clarifies things a little bit. If the market goes below this trend line, then we can enter short trades. Generally, what I would like to see is a move below it and then a retest. And when there is a retest, that becomes a higher probability scenario, although you will not always get one. So what I've done is I think I have a line here already placed. Yes, so what I'll do is I'll click an alert less than. So we'll just create an alert on this line. And as you can see, there's a clock has appeared here, alarm clock. And this is an alert which will notify me once the market goes below this. Second thing which I'm thinking is that if the market is really continuing as the wave 5 in the upward direction, then we do not have to think much here. We can just enter longs if the market goes and takes out the high, which is 95.215. Now, there are multiple ways it could be doing. Let me give you an example. It could just be that this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for a dot 1. This is a dot 2. And this is a even lower degree 1, that is a Roman 1. And then this is a Roman 2, which will be followed by a Roman 3 if it is going up, right? And what I'm really referring here is, let me just give you a very quick idea. I'm referring here to the fractal nature of Elliott wave. So basically what I'm suggesting is that when a market goes up in 5 waves in the upward direction, let's say a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and 5, then each wave will have 5 waves of itself within it. So basically, this one, if you magnify it, it will have 5 waves inside of it. Right? Similarly, if you magnify this wave 3, it will have 5 waves inside of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is exactly what I'm pointing here. This is the 1, this is the 2, and this is the 3 continuing. And within the 3, you will have 5 waves inside, right? So this will be your 1 of 3, 2 of 3, 3 of 3, 4 of 3, and 5 of 3. So this is what you call basically the fractal nature of Elliott waves. And if that is what's happening, then we will see much more upside. But as I said, I do not have very clear conviction on anything. So we will go as the market goes and see things accordingly. So that was it for crude oil. Wait and watch with the no clear conviction. Or the clear setup, although conclusively speaking, is to the upside if the market is taking the high out, right? Of course, guys, if you have any questions, you can just type them in the live chat if you are live during the webinar. And I'll take them before I head over to gold. So gold has well that is performing as it expected. So what I'll do is I'll just quickly go in and take a short trade here before we move forward with the webinar, because what I think is happening here is that we are seeing a down leg for wave 5, although I am a little bit late because I was obviously talking to you guys. But this down leg suggests that this is a good market to enter short. So I have taken a short entry right now on gold. Right. And very quickly, let me just head over to S&P because I have a position there. Well, that looks good. So in S&P, my position currently, we'll discuss it in detail when we go to S&P. Currently, I think the stop loss is here, 4315. Yeah, that's it. So I don't need to worry because my entry was 4314 something. So stop loss is a little bit above it. So that's fine. Yeah, heading back to gold, what I was saying was that the analysis seems to be playing out, right? And let me just see what the actual count is so that we can clearly discuss that. I'll just add one more cell, by the way. Done. Yeah, so the analysis basically is that we were last time discussing a possible triangle under continuation, and this has played out picture perfectly, by the way. Of course, you can check the 81st webinar and see and even the 80th webinar, and I think even the 79th webinar as well, because we have been discussing this triangle. Sorry, this triangle since quite some time. And we were waiting on this break because this will be the big move or the fast move or the expected fast move. Now, this has played out picture perfectly. And the good thing is for those of you watching now is that we have been following this thing for quite some time, like since somewhere here, I think since 7th August or something. And this is all recorded because I do all these things in live webinars, right? So with that being said, let me just quickly check what was the last, yes, 22nd. So 22nd, we were here, right? And if I can also pull up the last webinar recording and check gold, possible triangle progression, as you can see here, I have even written it in the timestamps. So this is a recording from the last webinar. Always check the recordings or webinars in 1080p because this is black background, looks real bad if you check it in any other. Yeah, so look at that. 1927 is the price, and the clear setup is downside, targeting 1860, whatever. 1927.59. Let's head over to the actual chart now. That's enough information. So that's your 1927, and actually the market has just fallen from there. So again, one of the counts which has played out picture perfectly. Actually, it has played out way too well. And I have taken also multiple short trades on gold, which were posted, of course, live in the Slack group. Let me see if there was any significant trade to discuss here. Trend shorts, a bit sharper, expected book profit, blah, 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 re-entered shorts. So as you can see, I just wanted to show you that we have taken multiple short entries, added shorts. Two we have seen so far, book profits on short. This is the third one. And let's see more. This is the fourth one, right? So multiple short entries we have taken, right? And yes, September 26th, this is the short entry which completed the 50% profit target on the current account I'm handling. And those of you who are joining in late, we will be doing a private webinar discussing all the trade history records, broker statements, win loss ratio, big wins, big losses, etc. Completely private and live only on 7th October, right? So if you want to see how I was able to achieve this much return on this account in less than 3 months, then you will have to register by going to 50hours.com/webinar registration. And again, I'll put the links in the description as well of the YouTube video. So coming back from the distractions, so this was the Slack record I wanted to show you. Now let's head over and see the trade why I entered shorts here. So if you look, this whole triangle has completed here. I'll just remove everything and just discuss the analysis. This is the classic overshoot of the triangle, market going above the trend line and then seeing a what do you call a fast leg down, right? A fast leg down is characteristic trade that this is a most likely a triangle pattern. If it was what do you call not that fast and it has sustained above the trend line, then this would have been a sign of bother or what you call a problem sign, right? But anyways, it worked out nicely, and from there on, we basically have an impulse in the downward direction. I can go into the nitty gritty, but if you just look at it, 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think three here, four here, and then five here. Although in the actual count, I think I have counted this as a three of a three, but it doesn't really matter at this point in time, I believe, because the target for both of them remains to take out the low. So long story short, if this impulse is correctly playing out as we expect it to be, then we expect the market to go at least lower than the last low. Let me see. And let me put an alert here. I think I have a comment here. Let me see. So the comment is from Stephen, and he's asking, is it common that the candle will break the channel in the triangle? Candle will break the channel in the triangle. Let me see, what is he referring to? Well, see, in triangle, generally the A, B, C, D, and E, which is the internal components of the triangle, are generally, in most cases, are zigzags, and zigzags will have a 0 to B channel, which will be drawn out with the 0 to B trend line projected with the parallel from A. So, just to explain to those of you who may not have understood it, this is what Stefan is asking. Generally, inside the triangle, the component structures will have a zigzag pattern. This is what a zigzag pattern looks like. It is labeled as an A down, a B up, and C down. And generally, a zigzag will have a trend line which is drawn from 0 to B. So this is 0. This is obviously B, which is already written down. So you will draw the trend line from 0 to B and project it from the A. This is a standard zigzag channel which I have drawn here and there. Again, keep in mind, not all structures will be that clear and not all structures will follow general guidelines, but this is the generality which generally gets used by me and is followed. Right. Now, getting back to the chart, I think, okay, we have a confluence here. We have a incoming support, and this, by the way, is a strong support. So the minimum target currently is 1857.79. And then we have a strong support incoming and 1856, roughly 1 point lower. So I think it will be better if I just get out very fast around 1857.79 if my target is hit. Because in case of strong supports, what happens is the market will just give a spike, right? Like go there for a few seconds and then come back, and you won't even get the time to get out. So that can happen. So I will have to remain prepared for that. And a best case scenario will be that the market just falls, takes out this support at 1856. Let me just type it down as well. And then heads over to the next support, which is at 1847, roughly speaking. Might be a little bit above 1847.8, something. So let's say 1848. Right. So these are the upcoming levels. So this one is not a very huge profit margin, but it is what it is. And as I said, this was a little bit of late entry from my end because I was actually preparing for the webinar and forgot to check the last alert on gold. Right. So long story short, gold, our past shorts played out perfectly. And yes, I just like to point out how much we have captured here, right? So last webinar was conducted on 22nd. The market was somewhere here around 18, 19, 25, 26 something. And since then, it has gone and achieved our downside targets and then is heading lower. So it has so far fallen more than 60 points, let's just say. And out of those 60 points, we had already placed a downside target at what is this? Yeah, that's at 18, the one which I was pointing out right now. Let's just check it. Yeah, that's the target, 1856. So this was a target I pointed out 7 days ago in the last webinar, and this has sort of been achieved. 1856 target sort of has been achieved already and probably will be properly achieved today, right? So this is the power of this kind of analysis which I do, right? We are able to see the move 6 7 days ahead, and not only that, we have also captured big parts or big chunks of it already, right? So that was it for gold. I don't think there is much to add. And also, I don't like to wait just to add a extra point here. I don't generally like to wait till the end of the target, but here the move looks quite sharp and impulsive. So I will like to wait till 1856 perhaps. And I think 1870 should act as a possible resistance, though I will check this chart after this webinar as well. But I'll just place a quick alert there, a little bit lower than that. So I think that's about it for gold. If you guys have any questions or doubts, you can just post them in the comment section and I'll just take them. Otherwise, we'll move over to the next chart, which is SPX. Yeah, there it is, SPX. Now, what has happened so far? Let's just quickly check. And again, let's see if we can figure out what I was saying about it in the last webinar very quickly. I don't want to take too much time. Let me see. We move forward. Something more short term. So it looks like we were talking about wave 4 incoming at 4306. It seems. No, that's something else. It's around there, 4350 something. So I'm sorry about that. This number seems to be not maybe or maybe not the exact level, but there was some support which I was talking about. Let me see if we can verify it. Yeah, it is actually at 4306. And then the market should go up or low. Okay. So got it. So the analysis in the last webinar was that we are inside a correction, W, X, and Y incoming. And my point was that it looks like the wave Y may have a low, which will come around 4306, right? And once this market goes there, then we may see a reversal, right? I may have discussed some alternate views as well, but this is the main view. Now let's see. And what was the price on 22nd? So on 22nd, the market was somewhere here, trading somewhere here. So the market did go to, it definitely did go to 4306, and then it went even lower and touched the next target, which is 4260. I'm not sure if I discussed this one in the webinar, but for all intents and purposes, the last target which we discussed in the public webinar was achieved and exceeded to the downside. So another plus one for our analysis. So again, guys, keep in mind, these are public analysis, which I'm showing you in the last webinar. I also have a Slack group where I post my live trades and everything. So I will not discuss it now. If I have a trade, I'll probably show it. But those trades are more what you call up to the market, because I'm showing everything as I'm doing it. And I'm also posting analysis other than just the trades. Again, coming back to the chart, W down here, X up here, Y here. So yes, it has achieved our target and exceeded it, and then it seemingly is reversing. So my analysis is supposed to be based here. Now there's a bit of a unclarity here. Let me just show you on the 4H or 1H maybe. Now the primary analysis or idea is that the WXY is complete. Let me just show you. This is our point of reference, which is starting at 4611. And I'm just assuming that the correction is complete here. That's our primary analysis, or let's say hypo 1, which will suggest upside movement, right? But always keep in mind, markets move should be analyzed with probabilistic analytical methods, not anything specific. Because if you know everything specifically, then why are you even why are you even in the markets? You will just take 2 or 3 next trades and become a millionaire or a billionaire, right? So probability suggests that if this is a WXY account, then probably there will be another X followed by Z continuation. Again, this is a low probability count because it has achieved our targets for the wave 4, which we think this whole thing was, right? This was a wave 4 which it seemingly has gone to the target and reversed. So I'm not taking that as our main count, but that does suggest small up movement followed by a bigger down movement. So that's our less probability scenario. And coming back to our first or high probability scenario, or H1, if the market really is going up, then the current count is suggesting an impulsive move. Let me just see on the 15 minutes and get in a little bit more detail. Okay, sorry, I forgot to move the comment. Right, so there is our current count. And right now itself, I've noticed something here. I'll just point it out later. So anyways, the current count is to the upside, right? And I've taken a long trade based on it. Actually, it's a free trade right now because my entry was at a little bit lower than 4315 and my stop loss is at 4315. So my stop loss is above the entry. So basically, I can't make any loss on it. Unless, of course, there's a huge negative news and the market just gaps down and everything. Anyways, coming back to the point, the most bullish analysis is already on screen. It is suggesting that we are in a nested 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. So basically, this is your 1 up, 2 down, and the 3 is under continuation. Within this 3, as we just discussed in one of the past few charts, we will have another 5 waves, which is called the fractal nature of Elliott wave. So this will be your 1 here in the 3, 2 in the 3, 3 in the 3, and so on and so forth. So we are currently in the 3 in the 3. That's just one way of looking at it. If it works out well, good for us. Second thing which I just observed is that it is also possible to count this market as a diagonal, perhaps. Not the best looking count, I know, but it can also be seen as something like this. Right? And if that is the case, then my long entry will get stop loss hit because in the case of a diagonal, it will break the trend line and then go lower. Right? But it still remains a bullish count. That's a good point because in this case, it will be wave one of a high degree followed by a correction as an ABC and then another leg up. So, not a bad story for us in any way. Correction will give us another long trading opportunity, and I'll jump on it if I can find it clearly, and then wait for this wave three to go to the upside. So, long story short, S&P swing side, my bias remains bullish. Short term wise, yes, it can fall. I do not have much clarity, but at this point, because of the current long entry with the stop loss above entry, I am kind of not that bothered, right? If it does take out 4315 anyways, then it's possibly heading for the down leg after the diagonal. So in both cases, we will wait and watch and see how things proceed. If you are already long with a good entry, perhaps hold with a stop loss. Otherwise, it's a little bit of a wait and watch scenario right now. Seems like I have some comments, so let's just quickly look at them. Someone is asking to check gold. You are late. We have already discussed gold, and we are currently holding a short position on gold. And let me see how it's doing. It's doing nothing really. So whatever. So you can just check the recording by going a little bit back in time. There's some point if that break hitting the stop loss of the long position, do you go short immediately? Well, in this case, I just saw this possibility of diagonal. So let me see what I'll do here. I can immediately reverse the positions, but perhaps in this case, not so, because here we can have a better setup. Let me see the downside setup. So here, let's just say the market is really going lower for the diagonal followed by downward movement. Then let me remove this for a second. Then we should see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 followed by some sort of correction, and then another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So basically A wave till here, B wave, and then C leg down. So in this kind of setup, I think I will get a better position here at the B wave. Of course, that depends how clear that B wave is and if I'm able to spot the endpoint in the real time. But I think in this kind of setup, I'll probably wait instead of just reversing my position. Right. So hopefully that clarifies your question, Stephen. And let's now head over to our next chart, which will be the chart of Nifty, which will follow by BTC. And yes, guys, before you move ahead or we move ahead, sorry, I will request you to hit the like button, because we definitely need those likes to push the YouTube algorithm to keep our videos getting more views. Actually, they are not really getting any more views. It has been stuck around 400, 300 views all the time, and I'm not really able to identify how to get more views at all. So I will request you guys to not only just hit the like button, I will also request that you share it with your friends, colleagues, and in groups where people are discussing trading related material and whatnot. Because without sharing and everything, we have done like 81 something webinars. This is 82nd. So after all these efforts, I would really like to see some flow coming in, right? Of volume of people watching this. So again, guys, requesting you to do your part to keep these webinars going. Again, at this point, I have a private group, so I really want it to grow as well. But without the webinars getting more views, it's not really getting easy anyway. So that's about it for the sharing part. Now let's head over to the next chart. And yes, before that, again, I'll just like to put up a quick reminder that we will be discussing the current account that I'm handling, which is in 50% profits within the last 3 months. This will be done in a private webinar. And if you are interested in such discussions, which will involve winning streaks, discussion of maximum, what do you call, biggest losers, biggest winners, etc., from live trade history, etc., then join me on 7th of October. This is the time. This is the page 50s.com/ webinar registration, and this is the link to register. Again, you will receive an email once you register, and you will have to join in live to see all that. So that's about it for the announcement. Now let's head over to our chart of Nifty 50, which will be followed by Bitcoin. So I was actually short here. Now let's head over and see what's really happening here. So actually, a lot of things are possible here, right? I can count it in multiple ways, and I do not want to discuss in too much detail here. The primary idea that I was having previously was that this market is doing something like A, B, C, flat correction, right? Now that still can be pushed as a forced count, but I am currently looking at it in light of another possibility, which is suggesting that the correction actually completed here. And this is a 1 up, this is a 2 down. Actually, this is the bullish outlook we are looking at. So, looking at the bullish outlook, I say 1 up. This is your A wave. Sorry, this is your A wave. This was actually done real time. This is your B wave, and this should be the end of the C wave, if this count is correct. Now, I was able to take this short because this was a very, very, very unusual pattern. Now, do keep in mind, this does not happen very often. That's why I'm using unusual and very, very so many times. Look at this. So this went up, then the low was broken, and then this again went up, and then the high was broken, right? So this makes it an irregular flat correction, and it is not something that happens a lot of time. As a matter of fact, I'm seeing it after a very, very long time on this chart, or any chart for that matter. I may have observed them on some shorter time frames, but on 1H, it is very less frequently occurring pattern. So since I was able to spot it in real time, and then I was observing it somewhere here, I just entered some shorts, and it just did its drama. And what's the psychology behind it? Let me just explain. So this is the leg up, this is the leg down, and then this is the last leg up. Now, what is really happening here is this wave A has a low here, which gets broken, so short sellers get trapped. Right now, once these short sellers are trapped, the market moves up. So at some point they will book their losses, and then the high is broken, and then people go long, which again lead to trap long traders. Now the interesting thing is the market has trapped people on both side, or traders on both side, I should say. Shorts were trapped, then longs were trapped, and then eventually the market reverses. So this kind of fall, if you can catch it in real time, is supposed to be quite fast. And if you see it on the real chart as well, this is probably the fastest move in the whole series. If not the fastest, then one of the fastest moves in the whole series. So as I said, do keep in mind this does not happen very often. And if it does happen in front of you and you are able to spot it and catch it, then expect something like this. Obviously, not always, but that's the general behavior you will expect, because the what do you call the big participants, let's just say, or the smart money, or whatever you would like to call, or the composite operator, has captured the shorts, has captured the longs, and is now going to drive the market and make his big money. Right? So that's the psychology behind this pattern. It is called an irregular flat. So that's about it for the pattern. And now let's head over to the actual chart. So what we are seeing here is a correction possibly complete here. If the correction is complete here, then 1 second. I had channels drawn already. Okay. So that's new to me, because this channel was drawn before the market closed. So the market has gone below it. Now I will have to wait till the next session. If the market sustains above the channel, then that's good news. Then that is just basically suggesting that this ABC count holds, and that this market can sustain above this channel and then go higher. That's the main setup that I'm looking for. Of course, it has gone below it in the last few minutes. What is this? 215. Let's just go a little bit lower time frame. Yeah, so it has really gone lower in the last 5-6 minutes. So I don't think I can take it very seriously. Do keep in mind the movements within the last 15-20 minutes or so are generally can be deceptive, basically, right? So we need to see the follow through in the coming sessions if the market is not 24/7 open like S&P 500 or other instruments like that. Right. So since the Nifty only opens from 9:15 to 3:30, so we will need to see the open in the next session. And if it sustains above this channel and takes support again, let's just say over here or somewhere, then we can look for longs. Right. And the basic idea would be that if the market moves higher, then we will look for the last high, which in this case is coming around the price level of 19722 to enter longs. But again, this is not a solid long entry. I will have to see the situation as it unfolds on Monday and see things accordingly, right? So that's about it for our discussion on Nifty. I've just said that the main idea will be to wait and see if the market holds this support line or trend line, right? With that in mind, I'll just like to remind you guys who have joined in later that on the current account I'm handling, we have hit 50% profit targets. And with that, it demands a small show off. So we'll be conducting a profits revealed webinar on 7th of October, right? If you are interested in something like this, then you will have to register here, because this will be a private only webinar. You can head over to 50s.com/webinar registration. I will post this link in the video description very soon. And then register here. Just select the time zone you are in, and you will also get the exact time, or just convert 8 p.m. IST to your time zone. And we'll discuss all the winning streaks, average wins, average losses, and all the trade records and statements from broker, etc. In the actual webinar itself, right? So again, do keep in mind it's on 7th October, so you have a good enough time to register and then put that in your calendar. So hope to see you guys there. And with that, now let's head over to our next chart, which will be what's that? Alert on gold has hit something. Let's see what has happened. So gold has hit our target, downside target minimum is complete. So let me just quickly go over and close my shorts. Close position. Well, that is decent profit for this small position. Close position. So guys, this gold trade now has been closed, and just a reminder again, guys, we discussed this trade live in the last webinar. I mean, the whole sequence in the last webinar, right? And I was able to take a short entry on gold somewhere here today while discussing this chart in the actual webinar, like a few minutes ago, 10-20 minutes or so ago. And it has already hit our target, which was the last low around 1857.6 something. It is now actually heading to our weekly target of 1856.56. And this is the target we discussed in the last webinar. When the market was somewhere here around 1925 something, we discussed it on 22nd of September and said that the target for downside is 1856. So how brilliant is that the market has gone and done that, right? So this is the short trade closed. And let me just update in the Slack as well, by the way. Actually, looking at it now, I should have left some position on because it does look like it has more downside left. But again, then again, I'm just talking to you guys, so not the best time to think, I believe. Think things through. So yes, with that, let's now head over to our last chart, guys. Yeah, and yes, before we move over to the last chart, again, I would like to request you guys to share this webinar, and of course, do not forget to hit the like button right now and share it with your friends, colleagues, and other people who are into trading these instruments, who are into trading crude, gold, S&P, Nifty, Bitcoin, etc., etc. Right? Because we really need more views. Again, I've been saying this for quite some time. The YouTube algorithm only promotes videos and things which are already. Yes. So I was saying the YouTube algorithm only promotes things and webinars, etc., which are already getting shared by audience outside of YouTube. So that's why I'm requesting that you guys share the content as much as possible, right? So with that being said, and also if you like this gold trade which we did live, obviously in front of you guys, then that demands that you at least in reciprocation share the content as much as possible. So with that being said, let's head over to our last chart on Bitcoin, which really isn't moving as I thought it to be. Actually, I had some shorts placed somewhere here, right? But what happened afterwards was that the market really did fly up. Again, it does not break any rules or anything, but I had to close them somewhere here. Now, the idea which we are currently thinking of is that from this point of reference, I was assuming that this is an A up, B down, C up, D down, and then E up for a triangle, right? So if this really is a triangle, then we still have a short entry incoming. We will enter shorts when this market breaks the BD trend line to the downside, right? It hasn't happened yet, so therefore no shorts. And this will become relegated, or the count will be requiring an update if the market goes above the wave C, right? Which will be at the price level of 27490. So above 27490, our short idea or short analysis becomes relegated, and below 26342, I will look for selling opportunities. Right, so that's the setup. Below 26342, we look for selling opportunities, and above 27490, the selling idea becomes relegated and we reanalyze the markets. Right. So thank you for being with me, guys, today. And as I said, share it, hit the like button, and if you are interested, register for the upcoming webinar, or if you are interested in seeing these trades live and my analysis live, you can also request details for the Slack group by visiting 50s.com/contact us. It has been nice having you guys here till the end, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you. Take care.